Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the fourth and final part of Milk and Honey Consulting. On the way down, there's no rock bottom. Let's bring this to an end. Exhausting to talk about it. Now, our current constellation till today looks like the follow. Betty, team lead. Me, Mike. Steve. Peggy. Marcy on sick leave. And our new hire, Kelly. Now, it's spring 2023. It was my responsibility to train Kelly. And Kelly came from a small company. She hasn't been treated very well. Not a lot of fun for her. So she was shy and insecure. Normal. Oh, and by the way, 35 years old. So whenever I trained new hires, first of all, I tried to, let's say, build them up. Like, nobody of us is better than you. We are all a team, all a peer group, all the same level. Nobody has to tell you anything except maybe Betty. And if you have a problem, you tell me. Don't stress. Nobody expects any performance, especially in the first days. Relax. Make mistakes. Only by mistakes you'll learn. And you'll see soon you're one of us. Now at this point in time, me, Peggy, and Steve, we were some kind of friends. We trusted each other, talked a lot on the phone. Heck, I told them things my mother don't even know. Now, Kelly, my dear, if you see this video, I'm pretty sure you don't know that. And if you'd ask Peggy, she would deny it. But I promise, it's true. You can ask Betty. She knows it. About after 6 weeks, Peggy called me and she said, we should fire Kelly. Makes no sense at all. She's not smart, she's slow, makes too many mistakes, makes no sense at all. We should send her back home. And I said, come on, it's just 6 weeks. Give her a chance. I am sure I can get her to the point to be a valuable co-worker. And Peggy said, okay, from this on, you are personally responsible for Kelly. For every single mistake she makes, I make you responsible. Nice, isn't it? Now, when you sign a work contract, you have a probation period of 6 months. After those 6 months, the contract gets permanent. So, after 3 months, Betty called me and said, what do you think about shorten the probation period for Kelly after 3 months and give her a contract. I said, yes, I'm for it. I said, I see huge potential. She would be a great, awesome member for our team. Absolutely. And Betty said, it's the same what I thought, and that's why I call you and not Peggy. Because if I called Peggy, I know I would have got a complete different answer. Now when I train people, it's like you watch first 2 or 3 times how I do it, then you do it. I watch you, then you do it on your own, and I check afterwards. And it worked pretty well with Kelly. And after some weeks, she was able to work on her own for her 2 locations. Pretty awesome. Now, during these weeks, I don't know, some kind of energy developed. Call it sympathy, whatever. And I believe it was on both sides. So when we were in the office, she drove me back home. We had a good time. In fact, we came into the office just to see each other because we were able to work remote. And when we were at home office, we talked on the phone 3 or 4 hours every day. Sometimes she called me and said, just wanted to hear your voice. Stuff like that. Deep, let's call it friendship. Now meanwhile, also the relationship between Peggy and Kelly got much better. And yeah, by this time I was still officially together with my Italian girlfriend, long distance relationship, whereas we haven't seen each other for 1.5 years, almost no communication at all. So it was, yeah, relationship on paper. Now, December 2023, I wrote Maria, my Italian girl, a message and said, you know what, new year, new life, let's stop here. Makes no sense anymore. We don't see each other. We don't speak to each other. Our relationship, in fact, doesn't exist anymore. Wish you a good life. Kisses to the family. Ciao. Now, shortly after, we were in the office, me, Steve, and Kelly. And I told them that I separated from Maria. And you could feel that the energy shifted. You could feel, I felt that, I don't know, Kelly was much more drawn to me than before. Now don't tell me any of those memes like, don't eat where you shit, never fuck the company or whatever. I know them all. It's not necessary. So now finally we are in 2024. Yippee. I was in the office together with Kelly and don't know, we talked about Italian food. And I said, what do you think? Come to me for dinner, I cook for you. Didn't expect anything. And she said, yes, why not? Saturday okay, 3 p.m.? I said, wow, yes, I'm happy. So she came to me, I cooked, we had dinner, we had some drinks, we danced, bachata, till the next morning, 4 a.m., she went back home. Next, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks, same as before, I was on the phone, in the office, was awesome. And I said, what about? Show up for dinner. She said, yeah, Saturday, 3 p.m. I said, yeah. And as before, I cooked, we ate, we had some drinks, we talked a lot. We danced bachata until 6 a.m. the next morning. And this time, we are talking about next time when she comes, maybe a sleepover. Next week, we can do home office together. I don't know what I thought about the situation at that time, but to my excuse regarding my prior relationships, were all pretty shitty. Emotionally, I was like a dry out sponge. I was highly susceptible for this kind of affection, let's say it that way. Now, beginning of February, big company party, more than 1,000 people. And we knew how we wanted to get there, but we didn't know how to get back home. And I said to Kelly, you know what, promise you, I take care that you get home safe. I organize a cab. Then we first go back to my place, and then he takes you to your place. So, the day of our party, we were first in our office, had some shots. Kelly was kind of drunk. Then we went down into the party area. Peggy grabbed Kelly by her arm, and I haven't seen her again. So in the evening, I was back into our office, cleaning up a little, and 30 minutes before leaving, I wrote a WhatsApp to Kelly. Said, what about cab? No response. Sent a second message. Same content. No response. Now, since I knew that she was with Peggy, I sent a message to Peggy saying, could you please ask Kelly what about going home, because I have a reservation for a taxi. And Peggy answered, Kelly doesn't come. She's busy. She's heavily into a guy from the security service. Now, I have to say that between me and Kelly was no commitment at all. Didn't even talk about that. We were just two strangers who had some fun time together. Nothing more. But nevertheless, that hurt. And although I have no right to say that, it felt like a betrayal. Next day we had a group call. Me, Peggy and Kelly. Whereas I didn't say anything at all, just listened. And Peggy was like, hey Kelly, what's up with your security guy? Did you meet? And you could feel that Kelly felt pretty uncomfortable. She was like, no, there was nothing. We just chatted a little, and yeah, but he looked very well, and yeah, and how old is he? 28. Oh, that's so nice. And do you meet again? Oh, I don't know. We're just chatting. So Kelly didn't feel good, but you could feel that Peggy had a lot of fun. And I knew that she knew that she hurt me with that. Later that evening, I called Kelly and I asked her, I know that I didn't, but did you tell Peggy anything about us? She was like, Peggy, did I tell her? I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't know. Means yes. Why do you ask? And I said, because I think that Peggy is sabotaging something between us. Could that be? Oh, no, I don't think so. Oh, and I said, Kelly, you know that I like you pretty much, yeah? She said, yeah. And yeah, that's for that call. Next business day, Kelly goes online at around 8 a.m. You can see that pretty well on Teams. And directly calls Peggy. 2 hours later, get a WhatsApp message from Kelly saying, you know what? Let's stay colleagues like before. Some business chats, call if necessary, just like co-workers. I said, okay, fine for me. Now don't get me wrong, it was hard, but I'm a grown-ass adult. Didn't happen for me the first time. And I can deal with that. As long as we stay colleagues, so what? And now, under this entire chapter, we draw a line. Because this chapter is closed. Has nothing to do with the story anymore. But from this point, things started getting weird. Now, this entire let's stay colleagues thing worked pretty well for some days. And then Kelly's messages became shorter, colder, more and more aggressive. And I called her and I asked, what's going wrong? What did I do? Why are you so aggressive? And she said, why? I'm not aggressive. Why do you say so? I think, would you please read your last messages and tell me that this is not aggressive? And I said, Kelly, I am not your enemy. And this is the last thing that I ever spoke to her. She blocked me on WhatsApp. She blocked me on Instagram. No Teams messages, no emails, no phone calls, nada. Now, apart from the story that happened before, because that's not topic anymore, you cannot ghost someone in a small team of 5. It's not possible. It doesn't work. So I called Betty as team leader. I told her the story. And I said, we have to talk. We have to figure things out. And she said, yeah, but what can I do? I cannot force her to talk with you. I said, what? You're a team leader. If someone can force them to talk to me, it's you. What's the problem? We sit together in a room and you say, figure things out, nobody goes home before things are not clear. What's the point? No, I cannot do that. Let's wait how things develop. It developed into nowhere. And I was forced to watch my team fall apart. Nobody gave a shit. I talked to Betty at least twice a week. I even got nervous breakdowns on the phone, honestly. Because this was my team. And it's dying. I couldn't stand it. And Betty was always, let's wait and see how it develops. Then I talked to Peggy. Told her the story. And first, she confirmed that she was involved from the very first day. She knew everything. And after I told her everything, she said, you know what? Now I know your story. I know Kelly's story. And they don't fit. Completely different. And I said, that could be. But since I know I told you the truth, means Kelly lies. And Peggy said, no. It's just that I have a different perception. And I said, facts, there's no perception. When you got hit by a car, you got hit by a car. There's nothing to perceive. And I said, could you please talk to Kelly? Maybe you can make it that we can talk together. She said, no, I don't. None of my business. I am as neutral as Switzerland. How neutral can you be when you believe only one side of the story? Meanwhile, I wasn't allowed to contact Kelly in any way or form. I was told that by Peggy as well as by Betty. Every kind of communication has to go over them. No contact to Kelly anymore. Now at this point, I want to make absolutely clear. I never had any problem with Kelly. There was no argument. We didn't fight. We didn't shout at each other. Nothing. Neither personal nor business-wise. There's absolutely nothing that I could have done wrong. Now, whenever I talk to to Betty, let's wait and see how it develops. When I talk to Peggy, she was always referring to our, let's say, relationship. Oh, she never loved you. It's all a big misunderstanding. Oh. So she took care for that she rammed the knife deep into my chest. One day I talked to Steve and I asked him if he knew what is going on, because I didn't. And he said, sure. That's Peggy. She wants to have your job. I said, why she wants to have my job? She has the same job as I do. Yeah, but she doesn't have your reputation. She doesn't have your standing. She doesn't have your respect. That's what she wants. And she only gets it when you're gone. I called Betty, told her that. She said, yeah, makes sense. I would say the same. So, two of my team knew exactly what was going on. They were just standing there, watching my breakdown. Now, one day before I wrote my letter of resignation, I called Peggy. And since I have some knowledge in psychology, I'm pretty sure she's a narcissist, but definitely a master manipulator. And our call was like, what you think that happened actually never happened. All in your imagination. Nobody loves you. It's just your perception, just in your mind. It's all your fault. We just wanted to help you. And I was so hurt that I believed her. And I admitted it was all my fault. And I felt sorry for causing so much trouble. I took all the guilt on me. One day later, I found out what she did to me. After that, I called Steve. And he said, we'll never be the same as before. It's all my fault. After that, I called Betty. And before, she always said, let's wait and see how it develops. Now she said, it is what it is. We don't change it anymore. I cannot do anything. But please, Mike, take care that you don't break down. Nice. So May 6th, I wrote my letter of resignation effective 31st of August. And I was out. Couldn't stand it anymore. Now what's triggering me really hard is one thing that I really do not understand on a human, emotional level is that I admitted that it was my fault and I apologized for causing all those pain and trouble. And everybody agreed, although everybody knew that that's not the truth. And it was not my mistake. But everybody agreed. There's such a huge betrayal of trust. I will never forget that. Now, funny thing is, after I handed in my letter of resignation, I don't know, 4 weeks later, Betty called me and said, Mike, somebody called me and I heard that you tell the people why you quit. I don't like that because it's not a good light to our department and not a good light on me. I said, what? What do you expect from me? You sent me through hell for the last 6 months and you're afraid that you're not looking good? What the fuck is wrong with you? And she said, do you want me to talk to Bob? Maybe we can send you home a little earlier. I said, no. You want to send me home so that I cannot talk anymore? Forget about it. I will stay here till the very last day. And I will come to the office every fucking single day, just for you. Needless to say, since that day, nobody showed up at the office. None of them. They didn't have the balls to look me in the eye. Shame and guilt are such powerful emotions. I love that. And since I handed in my letter of resignation, none of my colleagues communicated with me anymore. Neither Betty, nor Peggy, nor Kelly, nor Steve. Complete ghosted. Standing with the back against the wall. Nobody behind me, in front of me, beside me. Not even in the vicinity. Now, on my last day in office, August 7, at least 3 of them showed up to say goodbye after 10 years. It was Betty, Steve, and Julia. The other 2 protagonists, Peggy and Kelly, didn't show up. No phone call, no message. After all those years, nothing. So now, if I should have to sum it all up, apart from all the bystanders, 2 main actors of the story, Peggy and Kelly. And I have 2 scenarios. Either both of them are real, evil, bad persons, human beings. I don't know if you want to call them that way. Or, second option, Kelly got heavily manipulated by Peggy. I still want to believe that version. It's the last benefit of a doubt. But I don't know. The goal of it all was to get rid of me so that Peggy could jump onto my chair. Have fun with it. Now, when I look into the mirror in the morning, I see a guy who once loved unconditionally, and his only wish was keeping the team together. Nothing to be ashamed of. But I ask my colleagues, what do you see? And do you like what you see? Are you proud of what you've done? Are you proud of the outcome? If you want, write me in the comments or drop me a message. You know my number. So, I left out many details. It's already far too long. And I'm happy that the story is over, but it has to be told. Now, next time, I don't know. We'll see. So far, stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned. Ciao, ciao.